All right, I'm going to quickly talk about a couple of things because I see that I want to put my 2 cents in. Okay, I see a lot of people are pretty much lost in the sauce. All right. Now, when you look at the word self-centered, okay, selfish, all right, you're centered, and that's the right way to be. There's chaos, all right? If there's chaos, all right, you want to be in the center point, the eye of the storm, the eye of the hurricane, where the chaos cannot affect you, okay? You're in control. A lot of people come outside of themselves, especially to look for truth. You're trying to look for the lies in the news. Then you start to turn toward conspiracy theories. You start to turn towards so many things outside of you to try to figure out and say, oh, I'm woke because I know all this information. But you know nothing. I'll tell you that right now, because if you're not really sitting with yourself to try to figure out how this shit is working from within you, because everything is basically you pushed out. You'll hear this through financial gurus. You hear this through, how do you not apply this into a situation that's going on right now that's affecting your everyday life? All right. You're always eating. You think you're always eating just with what you eat and what you put in your mouth. But it's basically, that's not how it works. Is you're eating when you look at something, you think you're looking at something. You're actually receiving something into your eyes. You receive sounds. You receive smells. When you touch something, you receive signals that actually tell your brain if something's hot, spiky, cold, whatever it may be. If it's harmful, if it's toxic or whatnot. But it can also be therapeutic. That's why we have color therapy, right? We have aromatherapy. We have massage therapy, okay? We have food that could be therapeutic, but instead you only eat the food that tastes good instead of what it is because it's an addiction, and that's why food and drug is in the same category, because food is a drug. That's why some people can't get rid of certain things out of their diet, you know what I'm saying, such as Coca-Cola or certain sweet stuff and or even caffeine. Everything's a drug. If you cannot go without it, it is considered a drug. That's why it's Food and Drug Administration. It's in the same category. But not all food that tastes good is actually necessarily good for you. The same thing when you listen to something, you're eating. And sometimes, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people don't know that they love the fear. They love fear. And, people say, oh, well, how can somebody like fear? Well, look at this. Some people watch scary movies. They love the thrill of it. They'll go into haunted houses. They love the thrill of it. But then when something really is scary happening, okay, just because you can't see, your body doesn't know the difference between a real experience or a fake experience. But you really enjoy the fear. That's the whole thing. So that's why you'll listen to drama. You'll listen to, because it's negative energy. Negative energy is actually attractive energy. It's feminine energy. Women are attractive. That's why it's feminine energy. Men are an electrical, not men, but a masculine energy is more than an electrical energy. All right. That's why they say they're handsome. Women are attractive. Okay. But drama is also attractive. And you don't realize that. You like to listen to the drama. And that's what the news does. The news feeds you what it is you want to hear. And sometimes you be like, oh, I feel this. I feel anxious and that. But then I'm going to explain something to you, though. A virus doesn't exist. A virus is a frequency. If you want to listen to what actually brilliant minds at one point said, Nikola Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets to your universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay. That shit goes right over people's heads. Nobody really knows what that is. All right. But you actually emit a frequency. And look at the word emit. Emit backwards is time. All right. So you emit a frequency based on your heart rate. Now, if you look at the word heart, the anagram for heart is earth. Now, you will be presented with scenarios, situations, and things in your life, in your outside experience, which is really a reflection of what's going on within you. But now, all these things are proposed to you. Nobody could do anything to you without your consent. So they're proposed to you. When you propose to a woman, right, and she says yes, now you are engaged. So you are proposed with things every day, right? And propose in Spanish means comprometer, all right? Or, comprometer means to buy in English. So you bought into something because energy flows where attention goes. Energy flows where attention goes because you're paying attention. That's the biggest currency on the planet, not money, your attention. So where is your attention going every day? Do you think that it's going in the right place by thinking I'm exposing truth because the government is doing this, or, this Black Lives Matter? Everything that you're paying attention to is what you're creating in your reality. Did you stop to think about that? The whole pandemic thing, the more they put it in the news, they want to make sure you don't forget about it. So they keep pumping you with that kind of fear. Now, the virus is a frequency. Virus is just mutation of DNA. People talk about catching a virus. You don't catch a virus. You can't kill a virus because a virus is not even alive. A virus is dead. All right. It is mutated RNA and DNA. So if it comes from man and you see children play in dirt, the importance of children playing in dirt is that they're building their immune system because it's mutating from the inside out. Now, these viruses that are mutated from the inside out, wouldn't it be in your best interest to let your immune system run its course? First of all, people who are dying, they already had an underlying health condition based on the foods they're eating, based on the drama they feed in every day, based on their current condition. Your current state of being is the most important thing. How do you feel right now? Right? How do you feel right now? Now, this is what's very important though. If the virus is a frequency, and you'll hear this from people such as Abraham Hicks, you'll hear this from Neville Goddard, you'll hear this from brilliant minds, people who talk to you about the law of attraction and how everything works, right? The virus is a very low frequency, right? So if the virus, if the news is putting you in fear with anxiety, stress, and anxiousness, making you feel scared to go outside, keeping you indoors, putting the mask on you, which is only basically recycling your own CO2, so you're not even getting fresh air. What do you think you're doing? You're positioning yourself to be in direct harmony with that frequency because you're lowering your frequency. Stress shuts your immune system down. Your immune system is basically trying to protect you every day, but you're not working with your systems. You're working with the systems outside of you. We talk about education system, government system, every system that you could possibly think of out here. But you don't think or talk about, or even in your mind, you don't picture or envision how none of this shit works. Your lymphatic system, circulatory system, digestive system, endocrine system. None of these systems matter to you. You're only worried about all these systems that are happening outside of you. So you're not centered. You're not in your house because they tell you to stay home and you think home is where your current place of residence is. And that's not your home. Your home is where your heart is. Where I said heart is the anagram for earth. But this earth that you're experiencing out there is not your home. The home is the heart. Okay? So when they talk about cleanliness is next to godliness, how clean is your insides? How much attachments do you have? And I'm not talking about just material stuff. I'm talking about grudges. Because don't forget, the fact that you are exposed, and there's layers before you get to what's actually really happening. Because when you start, people who consider themselves woke, they'll start to look at their reality and say, wow, something's not making sense. The government is after us. The Food and Drug Administration is after. Now you're put in a victim mode. And now you're holding grudges against those people, putting more weight on your heart. When in actuality, if you really realize how this shit works by really sitting down, meditating, and activating your DNA, which really nobody understands what even that means. Oh, I'm going to activate my DNA. But nobody even knows what the hell that shit means. When you activate your DNA, you're unlocking perceptions of how things are looking out because you're starting to realize how this shit really works. From the inside, you're starting to see how you're projecting your reality outside because everything's mirrors. And if you start to realize that, there'd be no room for victim mode, victim mentality. So if the virus is a frequency, you're becoming a direct match to that frequency by being in fear, by being anxious, by being stressed out, when the virus is only nothing but a frequency. Now, your vibrational state determines what you emit out and what you'll be attracting back. Energy. You're an energetic body, right? You emit a frequency. What vibrational state are you in? The frequency is like a radio station. You can either raise your vibration and frequency above whatever the fuck is going on out here, and then you can see the bird's eye view of everything that's going on from above. I mean, it really isn't that fucking hard. All you have to do is just sit back. And the thing is you build a relationship with yourself by sitting with yourself and allowing yourself some time. But the problem here is that you can't sit by yourself without having the anxiety to have to check your phone, be on social media, call somebody because you feel lonely. When alone is how you're supposed to feel, all one. Because you're actually playing this game by yourself. There's really nothing out here. Everybody is an NPC to me. Okay? And then if I am outside attacking people, I am actually attacking versions or aspects of myself. When in actuality, how do you not know that the healing that happens from within, you can actually do that from the outside by cutting grudges with people, fixing things with people, disconnecting from social media or disconnecting from things. And I'm not telling you to completely cut yourself out from social media, but, put a little bit more attention into yourself. Be more in the center. And if you have a hurricane and you're outside in that chaos, you're lost in the sauce. But when you're in the middle center point, you can see everything that's going on. Okay? From a neutral state. People talk about bliss, harmony, right? Is the best vibration to be in, but you're also carrying the polar opposite because this is a duality matrix. It's very easy to see that. This has to run on duality. So all you need to do is basically be in the center point. Be neutral. Neutral is that natural way to be. And natural is how nature operates. But everything that's unnatural is living inverted. And when you see the word live backwards is basically the word evil, which you religious folks actually take as good or bad. Nothing out here is good or bad. It just is. And based on your frequency, see, everything is basically compartmentalized and categorized by using language. So you add a meaning to it. If you go out into the woods and you start hearing a bunch of noises and stuff like that, and you don't know, you never heard those noises before, you don't have a meaning to those words. Unless now you do some research and say, oh, that noise is by this animal. Now you start to go into nature and now you start to compartmentalize everything into meanings based on language. So how do you know if you hear a rattling sound in nature, right? You'll only know, oh, it might be a rattlesnake, it might be a snake, but because you've been told what it actually is. Now, if you were out in nature and you were to meditate and change into a brainwave state, let's say a theta brainwave state, the deepest state of meditation, did you know that none of these animals can actually hurt you? But the reason you can't do it is because you're programmed and you know what it actually is, that it loses the essence of the magic of what it actually is that's happening outside of you. It's kind of like a seed, right? When you have a seed, to me, a seed really is a magic seed. I can plant that in nature and I get, from a little seed, I get a huge tree full of fruits. You know what I'm saying? So much abundance out of a little seed, right? It looks like a magic seed to me, but once you open it and start to learn the mechanism of it and how it, then it kind of loses the magical essence of it. So it's the same way I feel like the body lost the magical essence of it also, because you see, you don't know how you're never going to know how your heart looks like, right? You're never going to see what your stomach looks like. You're never going to see what none of your organs look like, right? Because you would have to be put to sleep and cut open. But you only know what's inside of you based on the dissection of a body that's outside of you. That's how you know that what's inside of you. But what if you never knew what was inside of you, right? How would you be managing those systems? Because I believe at one point in time, if you go within, you can start to actually have better communication with your body, and through frequency and vibration, you will start to heal yourself mentally and physically and even spiritually without having to actually go and have yourself dissected to have surgeries, or if you were eating properly, right? The right nutrients. Because see, here's the thing. You can eat whatever you want. I don't live a rigid lifestyle. But in actuality, your body is just like the soil in a garden, okay? Are you just going to throw anything in the soil? I mean, you can attract beneficial microbes and bacteria, or you can attract maggots. You know what I'm saying? So you need the earthworms to actually process the composted food matter that you put in the soil to actually poop out the nutrients that are in that compost food. So now the plants can absorb it. So you have parasites in you that do that job for you also. And you have beneficial microbes just like you have bad bacteria. But there has to be a balance. The only thing is that if it's out of balance, you'll be in a disease state. That's why there's going to be an 80-20 ratio. All right? So your mental state has to be strong. There is, you see, truth seeker. What the fuck is a truth seeker? What are you seeking? Truth outside of you, which is basically history, his story. But you don't sit with yourself to figure out your mystery, my story. I mean, the fact that they isolated you in your place of residence, right? That's why we have presidents, right? But because you're only just a resident wherever you're at, because even your place of residence is not even really yours, even if you own it, because you still got to pay taxes on it. And if you don't pay the taxes, they tell you to come out anyway. So where is it that they cannot force you out of? Your real home, which is where the heart is. You know what I'm saying? Nothing out here is basically yours. Nature is not even yours. But nature is not something you look up to. The sun, the stars, people who become spiritual, they start to, and it's not about that. Because even that needs you. Without you, it doesn't exist. The only way things exist is when you observe them. All right? You could even look this through quantum mechanics or quantum physics. You have trillions of sentient cells in your body. Sentient cells in your body. You've seen wars be won in history through divine intervention. Angels came in their dreams. Certain storms miraculously happened for that to happen. So if you happen to come out with a disease, let's say, Do you know that by you just talking to yourself, you can actually, that's how you create the word, through your atoms, apple, all right? Atom, but it's atom, right? So the atoms, apple, you create your vibrations through that. But what type of vibrations are coming out? See, that's why people talk about all that are vibrations. But instead, you're using them with words that are actually spells, because that's why you spell words through the alphabet. And then if you look, you're in the alpha, beta brainwave states. But for you to be into a meditative state, you use the theta, delta. This is where you sleep, where you heal, right? You're paying attention to too many things outside of you. When outside of you, yeah, you see the sunlight shines the light on things where it's easier for you to observe. Notice that when it's nighttime, and even when the moon is not out, you can't see things. Everything's pitch black when you're in nature and there's no street lights. Everything's pitch black. So things really aren't there, and you're not aware of them, where you could actually trip and fall on things, right? So consciousness and awareness is not about you knowing more information. It's about how conscious you are of things that are happening outside of you in actuality, based on what's going on within you. But how does that work? Because out of darkness comes light. So you go into your darkness, not the darkness that's outside, right? You go into your darkness, and then you emit a light, and you can actually shed light on things based on your wisdom, not knowledge of what is happening, because you're getting the knowledge from outside of you. And then your experiences are your experiments that you have in life. So if you have an experience or a situation, and it was a bad experience or a good experience, right? They're experiments. And you as the scientist will know from your mistakes, and that leads to wisdom. And now you can talk about shit. But what are you doing if you're just truth seeking? You're just regurgitating his story, which history can always be rewritten and altered. How do you think the Mandela effect works? So there is no war. There's no war. It's all created in your mind. The mind is all, the universe is mental. What are you eating? Are you eating things that are digesting or sitting well with you? When you eat something, you get indigestion. It can either give you diarrhea, it can fuck you up. If you're listening to something, it can actually empower you, or it can disempower you, because it's a source of information. But you don't look at food as information. That's the whole thing. You eat dead food, which you are what you eat. That means you're dead meat. It's the same thing. Now, everything in balance, of course. But if you can also change and alter the vibration of what you're eating based on the mental state that you're in and the vibration you're on, because you're the source of everything. So that's where the whole alchemy and transmutation prayer came into play through this too. That's where the whole concept of prayer came in. You're transmuting and transforming things. You can either